Happy New Year. It's 2023. I can't believe it. I was writing it down and had to scratch out the 2 and add the 3. So I hope you all had a wonderful end of 2022, and this year looks like it's going to be a good one. Here's hoping. I want to thank Dr. Carlos Gonzalez, Assistant Dean of Curricular Affairs for the U of A College of Medicine, for reading the land acknowledgement. I greatly appreciate that. Thank you so much. We had a couple of items that we discussed. The biggest issue was chair and leadership, and I will be the chair for the Pima County Board of Supervisors starting our next meeting on January 24th. I want to thank Supervisor Rex Scott, who's now the vice chair for the Board of Supervisors, and Supervisor Dr. Matt Hines for the motion and their second and their support. I appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to the kinds of changes that we can make during the board meetings to make sure that the items that we discuss are more transparent for our entire community. And so I'm looking forward to it. I am the first Latina elected chair to the Pima County Board of Supervisors, and considering that it's 2023, I think it's long overdue, and I hope that there isn't such a huge gap before there's another Latina elected to that position. So we did discuss a few things. Worldview lease agreement. This item has come up a few times. We were sued, and there was a decision, and we discussed in public that we would not be appealing the decision. And so hopefully that's the end of the legal woes as in regards to this Worldview lease purchase agreement. The item did pass 4-1, so essentially it's a whole new lease. What was attempted before is kind of like a rent to own. So you build in the cost of, like, let's say, like for our couches, like, you know, those rent to own places. The amount for the facility was 14.1, and they were building all of the rent was going towards that purchase price that was deemed illegal. And so now we have the lease agreements, which are completely separate from the cost of the property. So our total investment thus far in the Worldview facility is $15.2 million. Total to be paid for the county at its current appraisal is $14.4. So it's 90% of the appraised value. And the lease payments, the county will continue to recoup those costs. And so we do think at the end of the day, it's going to be a benefit. There's about 100 high-paying jobs that are part of that lease agreement once they're fully operational. And at this point, the facility was made for this function, and so I made the decision, and 4 of us did, that we would continue to support this endeavor and hope that they're able to fulfill, you know, their obligation to Pima County. We accepted nearly $12 million from the American Rescue Plan to strengthen the capacity of our public health infrastructure. And so basically it's paying people more and hiring more people. Dr. Garcia said that it would be about an additional 20 people, and this item passed 4-1. 2022 elections, we had Recorder Casares Kelly and Director of Elections Hargrove come and do a presentation and really answered a lot of questions about what happened on election day. It was a fairly lengthy presentation, but at the end of the day, what we found is what I think all of us have agreed was a fair and clean elections process. There were bumps, but there are bumps in every election, and you know, considering that we moved to an entirely new system this election, I'm really happy with the work that came out of both of those departments. I want to thank both Recorder Casares Kelly and Director Hargrove for coming, and I'm hoping that that will be the end of the you know, every board meeting request to have a review of the elections process. We appointed Constable for Justice Precinct 1, Daniel Rowland. One of the things that I'd asked is if we do a background check for any of these candidates, and everyone indicated that we don't. And so what I requested, if it's an appointment, then I would like us to do a background check, a simple background check, because we've had some situations nationally and locally where people that were appointed had a history of, you know, criminal behavior in their background. And I just think for our due diligence, since I do know that those positions are elected, but this vacancy is an appointment. And so I think that we need to make sure as a board that we do what we can to keep our community as safe as possible. So congratulations, Mr. Rowland, and I'm looking forward to the next time we have an appointment that that process would have been done. Regarding the background check, we discussed, there was a contribution to the National Association of Counties. This was brought forward by Vice Chair Scott, and what it would mean is the county would invest $40,000 over the next 2 years towards, kind of like a think tank in for public lands. And so I'm not necessarily opposed to the idea, but there are 15 other counties in Arizona, and I want to make sure that Pima County is not the only one investing in this project, that there is some buy-in from everybody. And if that's the case, then I think $40,000 per year could be a good investment. But if that's not the case and other counties are not willing to join in, then I would rather keep those funds in-house and look towards buying more properties to strengthen our Sonoran Conservation Plan. IM 360, the Pima County Attorney's Office requested that their anti-racketeering funds, that we approve $5,000 towards IM 360, which I had the pleasure of visiting that organization. I know that they're a 501c3, that, they've been vetted by the city gave them a grant as well, and so, $5,000 is not a lot of money, but for our small nonprofit organizations, it does make a difference, and so I was glad to support that. That item passed 5-0. I do want to welcome Governor Katie Hobbs. She just spoke at the State of the State at the Tucson Convention Center, and our Pima County group was a little late because our meeting ran a little long, but I was glad that she could come to see. I've had the pleasure of listening to parts of that speech that she gave today, both at the inauguration and then yesterday at the opening day of the legislature, and now here in Tucson. So our next meeting is January 24th. TUSD is back in school. They started on Monday, and so right now a transmission of COVID is low in our community, but what we've seen is once students go back to school, those numbers go up. So please stay safe. Thanks so much. Have a good day.